When I was younger, I had a really nice friendship group, and these were people which I would speak to every day, right? We would sort of chill out in school. When we got back, usually sort of hop on and play some video games together and, sometimes hang out at the beach and whatever. And that was really nice. However, I made the conscious decision probably about 2.5 years ago to cut them off cold entirely. And the reason I did that is that was the exact point when started actually getting into entrepreneurship, when I started trying to do something with a business. And I didn't have to go and do that, but I want to talk more about why I did. And the reason being is I sort of instinctively knew that my environments would have a impact on what I could and couldn't get done. And I knew that when I was around those people, although they were good people, right? Don't get me wrong, right? I know a lot of people will speak about, they used to have friends that were bad. These people were good people, but they just didn't have the energy that, or at least they weren't pursuing goals that were higher than themselves, that were actually sort of aspirational. And to me, I realized, look, well, I would much rather be alone. I'd much rather have no one or a very, very close knit circle rather than, a circle around the wrong people or these people that aren't going to push me in the right direction. And this was a bit of a shock for me, right? It was a pretty difficult period because I also obviously sure it was a bit lonely, but I got to know far more about myself when I put myself in the position of just myself. It then got to the point where it was less about what other people were doing, what I should be doing for them, and more about me and what I should be doing for myself. And when it came to setting up my business and trying to learn sort of skills, I had to learn it all, right? I had to learn it all. And I just had lots of time to just be looking at these things, that trying to execute and trying to do the best that I could. Now, in this period of time, I was able to sign my first client online, right? I mean, I got into sort of copywriting and I've sort of had my first client, right? Did a few emails, and that was something, right? Like that was the feeling where I realized, okay, so no, it is possible to actually make money online, right? And this, and then as things came on, right, I sort of continued to try and sort of work away at it. But the point being is that if I was still around that friendship group, I would still most likely have them, asking and wanting to hang out more, asking and wanting to play more video games and like this, and that. And if I try talking to them about sort of business stuff, I sort of know that it would have not really been taken seriously and it just probably wouldn't been as projected as well. And so, I'm not really necessarily saying, that if you're in a position where you're looking to work towards something and perhaps the people around you aren't, trying to do similar things, I'm not saying you need to get rid of them, right? What I'm saying is that your environment does have a big impact. And although now I'm in a position where I do have a couple people that I can sort of speak to about these things and actually have a more close knit circle, back then I feel like if I didn't actually detach myself from those people, I wouldn't have made as much progress as I did now. And I just want you to be super conscious because I realized that a lot of these sort of inputs that I was getting in, a lot of the information and thoughts about what I should and shouldn't do was coming from the people and the environment that I didn't really want to be in, that didn't really serve me at the time. So give this a bit of a thought, and if you find this useful or if any of this resonates with you, do let me know below. But other than that, take care.